Ladies and gentlemen, if we want to save our republic and have any freedoms left and not be completely overrun by corporate globalist criminals, we got to get out of our comfort zones and get angry and get focused and take action. And I don't care what color you are, but you need to decide to be for liberty and freedom. You're never going to get any real free health care from the government. There's going to be strings attached. And the system is trying to use all these people that are dependent in the process of basically dumbing them down and enslaving them to bring down this country. Now, I said I'm going to take calls, but I got a bunch of news I want to get to, so I'll try to hurry. That caller made me go off the deep end there because it's just so outrageous. If you don't know what I'm talking about, men run onto City Field with Mexican flags. This is out of My Fox, carrying Mexican flags in protest of Arizona's immigration law. Why not American flags? See, it's a nationalistic issue. Noel in Illinois, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex Jones, how are you today? I'm going to quickly go through my stuff. First, please interview Randall Stufflebean, OneRandyRun.com. He's anti-North American Union, pro-states' rights. He's in Don't Tread on Me, the same film you're in.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of great patriots out there running for office. We just can't interview them all and then get to the news.
Okay, now, secondly, I have a couple ideas in terms of eugenics. I don't know if you're going to do Google search terms again, but sodium fluoride poison or whatever you want to incorporate with sodium fluoride. Rob Dew had an unbelievable article about sodium fluoride in our drinking water a couple days ago on Infowars.com. Also, I know you never want to go on the idea of Max Kaiser, but I think his idea is unbelievable in terms of, protesting protesting Coca-Cola and not buying it. But I think we should protest going to Walmart, protest buying, aspartame food and, GMO foods and all this stuff. And
well, here's the good news. You can now go to the grocery store and find a lot of things without MSG or aspartame or GMO because people are making those decisions. And so now the feds are moving to where they don't have to label it on there and don't have to tell you. But again, it's all part of an education process.
And if you could have on your show people who are top of the line experts in agriculture, growing your own food, so we are the info warriors who don't know how to, grow our own food and become independent, can hear from top experts.
Well, you don't even have to grow your own food, though. That's a good idea to supplement with that. There's all sorts of farmers markets and things. You can also demand real organics at the grocery store. I'm really a fan of that because then we take over the grocery stores again instead of the big mega corporations doing it. Noel, great points. I appreciate your call. Jason in Ohio, you're on the air.
Yeah, I was watching the Channel 9 news in my area, and this family built this house, and the wood had arsenic in it and was killing their animals, and they was getting sores all over their bodies, and they had it tested, and they come to find out it had arsenic salt or something. So
yeah, a lot of wood has that. And again, the media will obsess over a little bit of lead and some paint or something, but then they'll authorize just incredible toxins to be put in the food. I mean, I was reading on all these different TV dinners over the weekend, and they've got that foaming agent, that form of silicon that causes kidney failure, cancer, you name it, and that's only allowed in the United States. We are the guinea pigs, Jason.
Yeah, I thought it went along with all the food stuff, too, like the building materials, everything, they spray the skies, the water, the food, everything. So I just thought I'd bring that out, too.
Good points, Jason. All right, let's move quickly to Mark in Oregon. Mark, you're on the air.
Hello, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Alex, I go back a little ways, and I think the outrage was there if you go back to about 1950, maybe a little bit further forward than that.
Oh, yeah, they called them conspiracy theorists when all these scientists came out and said, don't put fluoride in the water.
Yeah, and I understand they actually began introducing fluoride into municipal water systems. It started seeping into our drinking water in this country.
That's right. In nuclear weapons production in Tennessee, thousands of tons got dumped in. It killed a bunch of people. And so the way they spun it with the lawsuits was, we'll have the government put it in the water and say it's good for you. That was only a small part of it, though.
But I see why you really stress what they're poisoning us with in various ways now.
But listen, it's not just that the corporations don't care and government doesn't care. I just sourced 3 or 4 of them last hour. They tell you why they're doing it.
absolutely right in our face because the poison has had its cumulative effect over decades, and now that's where the outrage has gone because that was one of the main desired effects of it from the people who poisoned these cowards who stab humanity in the back because they know humanity is infinitely more powerful than they are.
Well, that's it, Mark, and it took Searle and then Monsanto that bought it 3 times to get aspartame approved. You know, and so they literally put one of their people in as the head of the EPA. I appreciate your call. And listen, you know, we've talked about these degenerative eye diseases, macular degeneration and others. And I've had medical doctors, scientists, neurologists on, experts on nerves, brain surgeons, and they talk about, look at how young people are now getting eye diseases that people didn't used to get till they were like 75. It's directly linked to aspartame. Does your doctor, when the nerves start dying in your eye and in the optic nerve, do they tell you to get off of it? Just search the term aspartame. In fact, do it on screen for folks. Macular degeneration. And all these other eye diseases, and they've got the studies. They know it eats your brain, and your eyes are brain tissue. Your eyes, in the first month of gestation, literally in the embryo, grow out of the brain. They're connected to the brain. And so, of course, it's wrecking your eyes. Of course, it's attacking your eyes. It's attacking all the other areas. Oh, boy. Let's go ahead and jam in another call here. Randy in Florida. Randy, you're on the air.
Evening, Alex. Let me ask you about Oath Keepers. The Constitution requires a declaration of war, which hasn't been done for Iraq and Afghanistan. So how can serving in an undeclared unconstitutional war be consistent with the oath that these people take?
No, we always declared war up until World War II, and then after with Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm 1, Gulf War 2, Afghanistan, and now the Congress has basically passed funding to go into Iran, and Ron Paul has come out and pointed out this is illegal. And Congress is supposed to be issuing the currency and credit, not the private Federal Reserve. Congress is supposed to be levying war, and then they order the president how to execute. But instead, they just give that power over to the president and his cohorts, and it's very, very dangerous.
Well, no, the question is that in order to deploy or engage in an undeclared unconstitutional war is not a lawful order. How can any military member or oath keeper say they're keeping their oath when they're serving in an undeclared, illegal, unconstitutional war?
Well, that's what that officer Michael New did, was he was under UN command, and it was undeclared in Macedonia and Serbia, Kosovo, and he went public with that because he was under UN commanders. But all of this is just an extension of it. And, yes, it does violate their oath, and that's why they don't really teach people in the military anymore. They're just taught to follow orders, just like police aren't taught to follow their oath. They're taught to follow your orders, which is the Nuremberg defense, what the Nazis used, and it didn't hold up in the Nuremberg trials at the end of World War II in Europe. I appreciate your call. Great points. Tony, Chris, Taylor, Tony, Mike. Your calls are coming up, 888-201-2244. We'll be right back. I'm Alex Jones. The hardest-hitting online websites in the world are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Check them out today and then pass the info forward. But in the last 3 weeks, we've gotten a lot of new affiliates. We're getting 3 or 4 new affiliates a week. And I tend to be so busy covering news, I never thank any of the news stations for picking us up. Some of these are picking up the weekend show, others the weekday show. AM 1450 WELY, Northern Minnesota, WEUS 810 AM, Orlando, Florida. Business 1570 KYCR in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. WPNN 790 AM, Pensacola, Florida. WFHT 1390 AM, Avon Park, Florida. KZAP 96.7, Chico, California. KNKI 100.67 FM, Pine Top, Arizona. WTHU 1550 AM, Turnmont, MD, and WTRI 1520 AM, Frederick, Maryland. So that's just some of the new affiliates. The show is exploding. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Tony in Illinois. Tony, you're on the air. Welcome.
Alex, great to talk to you, man. Always good to talk to you. You know, I got 3 quick points. You know, I was at some friend's house, and we were just sitting around discussing whatnot, and I brought up fluoride, how fluoride's not good for you. And the response I got from that room was, it was like I was an alien talking about this stuff. And, you know,
no, they've been taught to laugh, like government's corrupt. And they go, ha, 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 conspiracy theory. Well, the Founding Fathers said that. Well, they're bad men then.
Exactly. And you know what? Yeah, I held my ground and whatnot, but not too much longer, I was talking to my niece. My niece has 3 kids, oldest is 4. And I didn't realize this. She had never gotten her kids any kind of shots. She said she read up on it, and she said, you know what, I've learned it's bad. She didn't do it. And she got the same kind of response from people. They said, oh, you know what, you're crazy. You know, you got to get these shots. And it's funny because I have a friend who had shots for his little girl, and now his girl is sick a couple times a month, whereas my niece's kids, none of them are ever sick. They're as healthy as can be. And it's just amazing, the responses that you get. But so that's that. My last point is, you know, when I was younger, I'm 37. When I was younger, I always thought, you know what, if I would have had to sit on a plane with someone for an hour, I'd want to see someone like Mick Jagger. I'd like to talk to someone like that. But you know what, now, if I had to get stuck to next to someone on a plane, it'd be someone like Alex Jones and maybe David Icke. You're doing a great job, my man.
Well, God bless you, my friend. Again, the system thought we were weak and pathetic and that they could let us have the internet and just use it as a way to track us and control us. You know, the CIA and DARPA created it. But now we're using it to expose the globalists, and they're panicking. And this video's had over 250,000 views just on one version, so everybody else copies it all over the web. Untold numbers have probably seen it. I don't know. But the point is, 500,000 could be easily the number it would have already had in the last 2 days if they didn't censor it off the front page of YouTube. They claim that if it's the #1 video in news and politics, it should be #1. But they just removed it entirely from the front page. This is not my opinion. I've seen quite a few idiots on YouTube of the tens of thousands of comments that are already on there, you know, going, he's a liar, he's a kook, it's not true, aspartame's good for you, preservatives are good for you. It's put in there to hurt you. Don't you understand that? Let's go to Chris in Kentucky. Chris, thanks for holding her on the air.
Yeah, Alex. I've got a news brief about the tap water you were talking about. Louisville, Kentucky was rated the best tasting tap water, and I'm not falling for that because I know there's drugs and fluoride and other things in there. This is a conditioning method that they don't want you to even know what is actually in there.
Oh, every town always says we've been voted the best tap water.
Absolutely, and I'm going to tell everybody out there, please get a Berkey water filtration system, and you know, don't hesitate. Get that water filtered as well.
By the way, guess what we found on a government website last week? I haven't even covered yet. I couldn't believe this, but I'd seen federal studies that in minority areas and when they test children's blood, it's always higher in fluoride, and they thought it was because kids were eating the toothpaste. And they always thought minority children in poor areas were, you know, around lead paint or something. But Aaron found government documents where they have fluoride cartridges at many public schools. Instead of 1 part per million, 4 parts per million, up to 10 parts per million. They're adding fluoride at the schools. We've confirmed this. And remember how they come around the schools when I was a kid and in modern times it's done and give the kids fluoride pills. And I remember when I was a kid, I'd eat them and then get sick. And after the first time, I wouldn't eat it and the other kids would get sick.
Yep. I remember back in the 70s they were doing that. And all the chemical additives in the 70s, they were doing that. This is nothing new, folks. They've been building this up for decades. Do your research. Get real.
Listen, I read last hour the big bioethicist at one of the major British universities, Cambridge, saying we need to forcibly drug the population to make them submit to government. I mean, that's the White House science czar, eco-science. I mean, it's just everywhere. More calls coming up and some other key news on BP, the D.C. shooting, and a lot more.